One of the store owners in Moscow said that the police were going, to the stores to ask if they had one of these K-bar knives, if they sold one of these K-bar knives. And when you say that you can do a lot of damage, you're not kidding. This is the, United States Marine Corps issue K-bar knife. It doesn't have that serrated top that was talked about with the, the Rambo style knife, because it's not necessarily clear that that is exactly what the killer used. But I think you're right. And the coroner did say to me that many of the wounds actually could have been lethal on their own. But you're right. Subduing two, murdering two, and then doing it all over again a second time certainly does up the ante of how powerful and strong and calculated and effective this killer was. Talk about the forensics, though. Now you've got more than likely Ethan and Xana killed together in the same bed, and the mix of those forensics, but then upstairs as well, Kaylee and Maddie. And that mix of forensics, not to mention this house, which is not like a single-family home. There's been, untold number of people through there, as a college house would be, parties and fun and friends and former tenants. How on earth do they sort through that?
Yeah, because the house was so public, and of course it was a rental house passed down from student group to student group. There's going to be a lot of trace evidence in there, hairs, fibers. I think the most important piece of evidence here is going to be blood. And it does complicate that if, in fact, two girls, victims were in the same room, because their blood could very well be mixed. And so you got to separate out. If you find a fifth profile in blood, that is more than likely the killer. But the risk of intermingling, mixing these blood samples and the DNA in them is higher when they're in the same bed. Then you got to separate those two profiles, and if there is a third profile, separate out that. And DNA is tough when things start mixing together. So, but I think DNA from blood, specifically from blood, is going to be some of the type of bombshell evidence here. If you can find a fifth profile in blood, that's your killer.
And then also, if there is some trace evidence like fiber or fingerprints or a hair that is mixed in with the blood, that's in an area that wouldn't be a past tenant or a floor or a surface somewhere, but instead on that body. I mean, I suppose you could say there could be transfer evidence if the killer traipsed through a DNA-rich home and then transferred some of that, DNA from a year ago or 2 parties ago to the bodies. I certainly could see a defense attorney using that.
Yeah, in some ways it is a forensic nightmare with so many different people coming in and out of the house. The hairs and fibers are raining off of clothes all the time. Fingerprints.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.